Nervous, dude. Stressing. He just did a tray flip primo. Oh my god.
Zach Doelling's nerves leading into his match against Johnny Geiger are understandable, considering how much more terrifying it is to play a game of skate on flat ground compared to, say, something super relaxing, relatively speaking. The comments section was stoked on Christian Jordan's respectable reffing, particularly with Johnny not audibly popping his tail on the switch pop shove it. However, in this particular match at least, for whatever reason, Jamie didn't say anything about needing to pop tricks on defense, and considering Johnny was on defense, and technically all 4 of his wheels were off the ground at one point during the switch shove, I'd argue the redo was unnecessary. Somehow, after moving away from Ireland, Jamie's accent is thicker than last season.
Oh god, you wouldn't belong getting frostbite.
As for the battle itself, Geiger's opening nollie kickflip dashed any hopes of a gentleman's game, and the 63.5% defensively successful nollie tray flip after that further confirmed Johnny's MO for a W was to 86 his opponent ASAP. While a nollie kickflip as the opening trick is the most difficult in Season 13 so far, there are 46 other matches with harder opening tricks than a nollie kickflip. 7 battles over the years have opened with a first trick that is less than 50% successful on defense, including the Season 1 Round 2 match between Mike Carroll and Joey Brzezinski that opened with a 48.5% defensively successful fakie 3 shove. The opening trick performed by Corey Kennedy against Nyjah Huston in Season 5 Round 2 was a relatively cutthroat 44.6% successful switch backside big spin. Corey Kennedy appears multiple times on this list, including the time he opened up the Season 2 third place battle against Tori Pudwill with a 44.09% defensively successful switch big heel flip. Keelan Dad opened up his Season 5 Round 1 match against Tommy Finn with a 42% nollie double heel, prompting a chuckle from the crowd. Perhaps the last authentic battle with an opening trick that has a dangerously low defensive success rate is when Corey Kennedy opened up his Season 2 Round 3 match against Peter Raimondetta with a nollie backside 360 heel flip, a flat ground maneuver that has historically delivered 25 letters, 6 death blows, and has a 38.6% consistency when attempted defensively. And Corey opened up that battle with that trick. The last 2 on this list are highly questionable, like Donovan Strain's 20% double hard flip opener in the unsanctioned Season 10 match versus Sean Malto, because the pre-recorded nature of early Battle at the Barracks rounds and the lack of a live audience in attendance suggests Donovan and Sean could have had more than one attempt to get a successful make on the double hard, making it look like the trick was done on the first try through slick editing and in turn invoking an intense match. Even more stomach-churning is when Mike Vallely opened his contractually obligatory match against fellow Cariuma team rider and Bera's star pupil with his very brave and bold whatever this is called, apparently the 86, and since fortunately most skaters respect the sanctity of skateboarding's purest objective competitive measuring stick known as a flat ground game of skate, this trick hasn't appeared before or after that tragic day at the barracks, leaving the 86 with a 0% defensive success rate. Against poor Zach, Geiger continued to pummel his opponent with 2 brutally tough-to-defend tricks via the backfoot varial heel and tray double until bailing on the half-cab late flip. Johnny had success with the half-cab late flip against P-Rod in his debut Battle at the Barracks match in Season 7, and apart from Mike Moe, is the only skater to ever land that trick in an official game, including the one time in Season 12 versus Jamie, but whether it was jet lag, nerves, or simply the stacked odds of landing this trick, Geiger's turnover gave Zach control of the match that would ultimately remain in Doelling's possession. The average defensive success rate of all 322 unique tricks in Battle at the Barracks so far is 65.75%, meaning that any given trick attempted on defense throughout the course of an entire battle is typically landed 65 times out of 100 tries. However, when you only focus on the first 10 turns of a match instead of the whole game, the average defensive success rate is much higher at over 82.5%, suggesting that on average, games of skate start with easier tricks, then progress to more advanced ones. Geiger obviously didn't want to play that way with Zach, along with the other skaters mentioned with heavy opening tricks like Mike Carroll, Corey Kennedy, and Keelan Dad. But it's historically rare for battles to play out the way Geiger and Zach's did, where the first 10 turns of a match include cutthroat tricks that are hard to defend. Less than 5% of the 422 battles that have taken place over the years have opened with defensive success rates lower than the overall average in the first 10 turns. In other words, 95% of all the games of Skate ever have started out with tricks that are easier than the average overall defensive success rate. 4 of those 20 battles that started out guns blazing are unsurprisingly third place battles, which don't really matter. And if we also take out Mike V's match from last season, there are 15 legit battles that opened up relatively heavy. Just over half of those cutthroat battles, 53% to be exact, paid off for the skater who opened that battle, meaning the skater who won Rochambeau and performed historically harder tricks to defend in the first 10 turns went on to win that match. But once you get into the top 5 matches with the most difficult opening 10 turns, the odds of winning are heavily skewed towards the skater who had their back to the ropes. Now that Geiger's battle with Zach is done, their match ranks 5th overall for the most difficult tricks to defend in the first 10 turns, at under 50%. But once Doelling got control of the game, he whittled Johnny down with tricks that, according to the numbers, are easy to defend, like the switch front shove, which is almost 87% defensively successful, 71.4% fakie frontside heel, and 71.1% frontside big spin. Missing the bigger flip for letter T isn't that surprising, since it's less than 43% successful on defense, and the odds of landing the switch hard flip is basically the flip of a coin at 56%. But Zach's methodical execution of the fundamentals would be Geiger's downfall in this battle. Aramis Hudson opened his third round battle from Season 9 against Mickey Papa with some heavy tricks, including a rare fakie front 3 kickflip on turn 5, fakie heel body varial on turn 7, and tray double on turn 10, giving the opening 10 tricks an average defensive success rate of 46.8%. Hudson's circus tricks were only able to give Papa 2 letters, before Aramis turned over the match on a botched switch heel body varial, and Mickey delivered 4 letters on fundamental tricks, including the 62.5% defensively successful backside heel, 71% successful fakie front heel, 71% frontside big spin, and the relatively harder 53% nollie inward heel. Papa missed an attempted switch double flip death blow, giving Aramis another shot at redemption, and even managed to give Mickey letter A on a backside late flip. But the ambitious cab late flip was the final nail in Hudson's coffin, leading to Papa winning on the super rare backside varial heel flip. Pretty much the same thing happened with the previously mentioned Keelan Dad versus Tommy Finn battle, where Dad's opening 10 tricks averaged 46.5% defensively successful, led by the 42.4% nollie double heel, followed by a 56% successful switch hard flip, 10% switch double heel, and 65% 3 shove, before Keelan missed an 82.5% offensively successful switch varial heel, allowing Tommy to win on statistically mediocre tricks like the 73% defensively successful backside flip, 69% big flip, 75% fakie frontside kickflip, 63.5% nollie tray, and a 57% switch backside flip death blow. The first 10 tricks initiated by Joey Brzezinski in Season 3 Round 1 against Chris Cole had an average defensive success rate of only 45.83%. And good lord were the tricks disgusting, like the 50% backside body varial revert, 33% pressure varial flip, and 0% switch pressure varial flip, before Brzezinski missed the 75% offensively successful, but only 33% defensively successful nollie heel body varial. Cole retaliated with this trick in ollie south and north combined, which is 0% successful on defense, giving Joey S, and did proceed to deliver letters from weird shit like the 16% successful backside heel body varial for letter T, but the 70% switch tray and 83.6% fakie tray gave Joey letters, along with the 46.8% fakie bigger flip death blow. Mike Moe is pretty much an anomaly in the top 5 hardest opening tricks list, beating Shane O'Neill in the Season 5 finals match after opening the battle's first 10 turns with maneuvers that averaged under 45%. Unlike the other battles on this list, however, Mike Moe missed the opening trick, a 0% defensively successful late pressure flip, heavily weighing down the opening 10 tricks' average defensive difficulty. Shane's 51% impossible, 69% switch frontside big spin, 48.6% fakie 3-shove, and 55% cab big spin weren't enough to give Mike Moe any letters. But the 44% switch big heel was, along with the 42% fakie bigger spin, and then there would be 5 total turnovers in this match before Mike Moe ultimately won on a 0% defensively successful fakie late pressure flip, kind of putting this match into its own category of filth, especially when you consider Mike Moe missing the opening trick. Overall, while it's tempting to claim that due to the fact that 80% of the top 5 historical examples prove that if you win the Rochambeau and then go on to open a battle's first 10 turns with tricks that are above a difficulty threshold of less than 60% likely to defend, some type of invisible flat ground karma comes back around to bite you in the ass, there are other variables at play besides that one statistic. Geiger's win-loss record is now 0-3 in Battle at the Barracks, which is where I'd argue that the unmeasurable quote-unquote will-to-win factor had a heavy influence on Zach, caring enough to not only meticulously prepare for success leading up to his debut match in this tournament, but also approach his battle with much more seriousness placed on strategy, whereas Johnny probably was just stoked to get invited overseas again and get another opportunity to participate. It's statistically unlikely for any given skater to claim a winning record in Battle at the Barracks. In fact, only 45% of the 233 unique competitors can claim they've been able to win at least one battle. But it's even harder to show up to 3 Battle at the Barracks tournaments and lose every time. Geiger is now part of an unenviable club, I guess you could call it, where a skater has shown up to 3 tournaments and lost 3 times, joined by none other than Chris Roberts. In all fairness to Johnny, he's gone against the best skaters in all 3 tournaments, including former champs like P-Rod and Jamie, and losing to Zach is not exactly a catastrophic failure by any means. And in Chris Roberts' case, apart from losing to Steve Berra, his matches with Mike Moe and Kelly Hart were clearly not even remotely competitive, but the fact remains, apart from the Legion of Doom, no single skater besides these 2 have been invited to 3 tournaments without being able to win at least one match. And as bad as it sounds to say, unless the Johnny versus Zach game gets a ton of views on YouTube, there is a chance we might have just witnessed the last Geiger match in Battle at the Barracks. The astute comments section in the Curran versus Louis battle accurately observed that there was a high volume of missed attempts, with their match tied for first in Season 13, along with the relatively much longer Cole versus Suchu battle at 21 total misses. The most missed attempts in any match ever was Costin versus Mike Moe in Season 12 Round 1, where they had a combined 26 misses and 7 redos. As far as averages go, 26% of a match is not a make, meaning that a little over 1/4 of the turns in any given battle will be either a redo or a failed attempt. Curran and Louis' battle leads Season 13 with the highest percentage of misses in a battle so far at 33.87%, well above the historical averaged fail attempts volume rate of 26%. Costin and Donovan Strain have the highest percentage of missed attempts in a match ever back in Season 1 Round 2, where both Eric and Strain couldn't land shit in 25 turns, with 56% of their match made up of misses and 1 redo. Jocelyn and Luan's Season 10 Round 3 match is the most flawless battle in history, where over 88% of the 77-turn match is made up of successful attempts. Apart from Curran's impressively clutch backside late flip last try attempt, the highlight of this match is the fact that Louis gave his opponent a window to succeed by letting up on continuing with switch tricks after getting cables to T. No one has gotten 5 straight letters on only switch tricks in one match yet, but there are 21 different battles where a skater got 4 letters from switch tricks. And Curran is not only one of those skaters, but the 4 switch tricks he got letters on rank him 3rd overall for the easiest switch tricks missed defensively. The average defensive success rate of the 4 switch tricks Curran missed was 68.23%, including the 79% switch kickflip, 57% switch backside flip, 68.5% switch frontside flip, and 68% switch backside heel flip. 2 skaters have been beaten to a pulp by 4 switch tricks worse than Curran. Chico Brenes got 4 letters from switch tricks in his game against Paul Rodriguez in Season 3, first from a 79% switch kickflip, 70% switch tray flip, 68.5% switch frontside flip, and finally on a 56% switch hard flip for an overall average of 68.43%. Nick Matthews has the unfortunate title of getting 4 letters from switch tricks with the easiest average defense rate, including an 89% switch pop shove it, 87% switch frontside shove it, 69% switch frontside big spin, and 79% switch kickflip death blow, for an overall average of 80.93%. Which is even sadder when you consider the fact that Nick successfully defended a 70% switch tray and even a 61% switch backside big spin. Seeing shit like 2 missed heel flips from Curran solidified the fact that this battle was much more of a Costin type game, meaning any sense of competition is non-existent. Best exemplified by BFF Mason Silva making choking gestures after Louis missed a frontside shove. Louis faces Cody, which means unless Cepeda throws, he'll be in round 3 facing either Carlos or Chris Cole. Zach's win means he either faces Seva or Jamie, and unlike a Louis versus Cody battle, a Zach versus the winner of Seva and Jamie battle is much harder to determine. Doelling beat Johnny without really showing any seriously heavy dagger tricks that could give away his strengths or weaknesses. We did see Zach miss a double tray, which is a Seva staple, but other than that, we'll have to wait and see which battles are in store for next weekend.